Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a problem that is sneaking around on farms all over the world. Seriously, it's not a virus, it doesn't really have any obvious signs, but every single summer, it's quietly siphoning profits from perfectly healthy operations. So let's figure out what it is, and more importantly, what we can do about it.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. Your animals they look fine, but they're not. And that's the whole trap, isn't it? You're on the lookout for a sickness, for something obvious, when the real enemy is something completely different. So we have to ask you this straight up, because this isn't just about keeping your animals comfortable, it's about the financial health of your entire operation. It's about money you've already earned just vanishing into thin air, all because of an enemy you can't even see. All right, so to fight this thing, we've got to give it a name first. We need to shine a light on it and understand exactly what we're really up against. Okay, this is absolutely crucial to understand. Heat stress is not a sickness, it's a survival mode. When an animal gets too hot, its body goes into lockdown, and it starts shutting down anything that's not essential for staying alive. You can think of it like a company slashing its budget in a crisis. And what are the first things to go? Growth, production, reproduction. The very things your profits depend on. And here's what makes this so tricky. What you see on the outside looks totally normal. The animal's standing there, it's breathing, it's drinking water. But inside, a silent state of emergency is unfolding. The body isn't full-on crisis mode, and this right here shows exactly why heat stress is so easy to miss until, the damage is already done. All right, let's talk about the real-world damage. We've named the culprit. Now let's look at what it's actually doing to your bottom line. Because honestly, the numbers, they're pretty staggering. So before we get into the losses, you need to burn this number into your brain. THI, the temperature humidity index. If it's below 72, things are okay. Your animals are comfortable. But the second that number crosses 80, you are officially in the danger zone. Every single hour your herd spends above a THI of 80, serious money is just disappearing. And here's what those losses actually look like. Milk production can drop by over a third. Feed intake, that can plummet by almost as much. And look, these aren't just little dips. These are catastrophic drops in your core production, and they're happening silently every single hot afternoon. And this might be the most devastating number of all. Conception rates can absolutely collapse, down by 40%. What this means is your breeding program during the summer is quietly failing, creating this long-term financial hold that can take months, sometimes even years, to climb out of. Let's try to put this into perspective. For a small dairy herd, we're talking just 50 cows. Heat stress can easily cost you 9,000 liters of milk over one summer. That's milk that is just gone, not because of a disease, but because of heat that wasn't managed.
So if the damage is really this bad, why don't more people see it coming? Well, this is what makes heat stress so incredibly insidious. It plays this cruel trick on you, and it's all based on a really dangerous delay. This timeline shows you exactly how the trick works. So on day 1, the heat wave hits its peak. But your production numbers, they don't crash until day 4 or maybe even day 5. By then, the weather might have already cooled down. So you see the drop in production and you immediately start looking for the cause, right? You're checking the feed, you're calling the vet, but you're looking for the wrong problem because the real culprit is already in the past. Okay, so that was all the bad news, but here's the good news, and it's really good. The solution isn't complicated and it's not expensive. Let's walk through 3 simple and often totally zero-cost fixes you can put into place literally today. And this is it. This is the whole protocol. We're not talking about fancy new technology or expensive drugs. It's about getting 3 basic but absolutely critical things right. Shade and air, lots of water, and changing up your feeding time. Let's break each one down. First up, shade and airflow. Now, this isn't just about comfort. It's basic physics. Shade blocks the sun's direct radiation, and a nice breeze pulls that bubble of hot, sticky air away from the animal's body. Your target is a minimum of 4 square meters of shade for every animal, and you want air moving at about 1 meter per second right at shoulder height. If you can hit those targets, you can cut the heat load by 30%, maybe even more. Number 2, water. A heat-stressed cow needs a ton more water, up to 80% more. She is literally breathing it out, trying to stay cool. So your goal should be somewhere between 80 and 120 liters a day. But here is the most important part of this whole step. You have to check the water troughs every 2 hours between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. If the water runs low for even just an hour in that critical window, you've lost the battle for that day.
And finally, the feeding schedule. This one is just brilliant because it costs you absolutely nothing to do. See, ruminant digestion, it's like an internal furnace. It generates a massive amount of heat. So if you feed your animals in the middle of the day, you're basically forcing that internal furnace to run at full blast, right when the outside temperature is also at its peak. It's a disaster. So instead, shift the feeding to the cooler hours, early morning and late evening. That way, you align all that metabolic heat with a time the animal can actually handle it. So let's say you do all that. You've identified the problem and you've put these 3 fixes in place. What happens next? Well, let's talk about the payoff. Let's talk about taking back the profits that heat stress has been stealing from you every single year. This is the number that really matters. Farmers who are consistent with this 3-step protocol can recover 60 to 70% of their summer losses. Just think about that for a second. That is a massive amount of production and profit brought right back to your bottom line. And how did you do it? Well, you didn't do it with expensive drugs. You didn't do it with some complex cooling system, and you didn't have to just write off the entire summer and wait for the weather to change. No, you took control with simple, smart, effective management. This quote from our source really sums it all up. It doesn't send a warning. It just takes. But see, that was before. That was before you knew what to look for and before you knew how to fight back. The power has shifted. You have the knowledge now. This isn't some unmanageable act of nature anymore. It's a known problem with a clear protocol to beat it. And really, that just leaves us with one final critical question. The information is here. The plan is clear. The only thing left now is action. Thanks so much for joining us. Next time on The Explainer, we're going to get even deeper into the numbers and help you calculate your farm's exact losses from heat stress. And hey, if you found this valuable, please share it with another farmer, because everyone deserves to keep what they earn. We'll see you then.